And moving on to get you this important development now, we are hearing that charges have been framed against Vikas Barala, and charges are also including kidnapping. Remember, just not very long ago, we had got you news of how this man actually had confessed to all those charges that were leveled on him. My colleague Niranjan also with us on the phone line to get you more details of exactly what we know about this. Niranjan, tell us more about what we are hearing on this.
Well, we're getting in breaking news information. Remember, a couple of days ago, Dipti, when hearing the arguments had begun and the framing of charges were to be done a couple of days ago, the prosecution had argued that if not for Varnika's car being centrally locked, the accused, in this case Vikas Barala and his friend, could have opened the doors and abducted Varnika. Now, we also had the details of the final report that was filed by the police in this case, where the police argued. And in fact, they made a case saying that his intention was to kidnap. He had dirty intentions. The word used were Gandhi Irade. And they also used the word kidnap in their final report that was filed. Now, breaking news that Republic TV has is that charges have been framed on Vikas Barala and his friend. And those charges include kidnapping. He's been charged with kidnap. So this is huge because the Haryana BJP chief's son has been charged with kidnap. You will remember the sort of political pressure that was there on the case. The police were also questioned on the handling of this case. And now we know that he has been charged. The charges, the sections that were, initially argued against Vikas Barala were Section 365 of the IPC, Sections 341 and 354D. Now, what we also know is that he has been charged with kidnapping. And this is something that the police made a case against Vikas Barala. He has now been officially charged. Now, these are details that we're picking up from Gurpreet Chinna, our correspondent, who's in court as of now and getting us the details. So this is huge. The charges that he's been booked under are 354D, 341, 365, 511 and 34 of the IPC. So this is a big development. You will remember that when the story broke, there were claims and counterclaims. The defense had earlier claimed that Barala, son of the Haryana BJP chief, was a victim of wrongful police probe, adding that the police played into the hands of the IAS lobby. Now, these were some of the arguments that the defense had made in court. And they also claimed that the kidnapping charge was added to the FIR under pressure. Also added the argument that the victim's kidnapping blame was imaginary. The prosecution in this case argued that the real intention of Vikas Barala and his friend Ashish were to kidnap Varnika Kundu. And that is something that we have also spoken about. When you looked at the visuals for kilometers at end, for kilometers, Vikas Barala, for several kilometers, they followed the car and they stopped the car. And if not for the car, which was centrally locked, the argument was they may have kidnapped Varnika Kundu. And today when the charges are being framed, kidnapping is one charge that has been added. So this is a huge setback for Subhash Barala, the father of Vikas Barala. Subhash Barala, remember, is the Haryana BJP chief. A massive setback to the BJP in Haryana. This is huge because Vikas Barala has been officially charged with kidnapping.
Niranjan, I also want to get in Gurpreet here. Now, Gurpreet, tell us more about what happens from here on. Remember, the entire charge sheet then is talking of sections 354D, that is stalking, 365, kidnapping or abducting with the intent to wrongfully confine a person. It's also 341, wrongful restraint, 511, attempt to commit offences punishable with imprisonment for life. What will happen now here, Gurpreet? That is important, and how strong the case the prosecution really will be able to put forward.
Basically, we have got the police report that the final outcome of the investigation, in which they have mentioned that Vikas Barala and his friend Ashish, they have confessed that crime. They followed, they chased, multiple times they chased. That was not a simple stalking case. The police was under pressure because initially they had registered a case under the section 354D, and all the bailable offences had been imposed and they were bailed out from the police station. After a lot of uproar in the country, they had invoked the section 365. That was under question since the investigation was going on. Last hearing, there was a lot of arguments on that section 365. But today, officially, the court had charged it on the charge of kidnapping along with the other charges. So the investigating officer, we had talked to the investigating officer. They are very confident because they were able to get the technical evidence in this case. That was the CCTV footage. So they are also waiting for two more reports. One report was related to the blood and urine sample that had sent to the CFSL to confirm about the drunken driving. But one thing was very clear that Section 185 Motor Vehicle Act was also invoked in the charge sheet in the final outcome of the police investigation. And now the charges have been framed from the court, district court, and now.
All right, Gurpreet, I'll just request you to please stay with us for a moment because Varnika now joins us on the phone line. Varnika, many thanks for speaking to us on Republic. Now, this is what we can confirm to you, Varnika, and I do remember that, you've essentially been putting forward that entire fight, that entire plea where you said that this was an intention to kidnap. And now the police actually has booked this VVIP brat, Vikas Barala, under abduction charges, Varnika.
So I guess the verdict is out, and I'm glad that the judge sees it the same way that we do, because anything less than this would not have been satisfactory at all.
And Varnika, looking at how the police essentially has taken forward this entire case, are you satisfied? You believe that more should be done? What would you say?
I think the police has done their investigation really well, and like I said, I have faith in the system. I'm still keeping my faith, and everything so far, the system has worked with us, the police has worked with us, and now judiciary seems to be working for justice too. So far it's going exactly as we hoped.
And Varnika, interestingly, the lawyers of the Baralas in the court have said that this is all but, a media trial. They've essentially been saying that this was a media trial. Why? Because this was a high-profile case. And they've essentially been pointing fingers almost at everyone. Isn't that a regular modus operandi whenever we look at a case which involves a VVIP then?
It probably is. I mean, I was there when the arguments were made day before yesterday, and some ridiculous things were said. But who are they going to point fingers at now? Because justice is doing what it has to do. The system is doing its job.
And also, Varnika, would you also be wanting perhaps to make a plea to fast-track the entire case, considering that this is just the beginning? Today, so many days after that entire unfortunate incident, we've only reached to the framing of charges. That is the only stage we are at today.
I probably have to consult my lawyer on that.
All right, and before I let you go, is there anything else that you would want to say, considering, Varnika, this is going to be a long, drawn legal procedure. We know that the wheels of justice, for many reasons, might only move very slowly. And considering that you're fighting someone who is a VVIP, himself, what is it that is working on your mind, your father's mind?
I've always maintained that we're just going to focus on the positives, and that's what we're doing now. I mean, I'd rather look at what is happening than what maybe is not happening. So, and so far everything has been going really well. The system is still working for us. The system is working for the people who actually need justice and who should get justice. And I think it's going well so far.
And is there any exemplary punishment, Varnika, that deserves to be handed out in a case like this? Is that important? Is the messaging also important?
I can't really comment on the punishment, but the only thing I would say is that whatever happens, these boys and everyone else who thinks like this needs to understand that they cannot get away with this, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter how much money you have. You cannot just think that you can get away with whatever you want.
And also, this is going to be my last question finally, Varnika, before I let you go. What is the kind of courage, the mettle that it really takes to stand up and stand up your ground to people like these, you know, in spite of the kind of brickbats that you might be facing, what you hear, your father hears. There were also reports, remember, of his transfer. In spite of all this, what makes Varnika stand up every time, you know, against this VVIP brat?
I think the biggest factor is that me and my family, and I think pretty much every woman in the country and everyone who's related to a woman or who cares about a woman is so sick of the situation that we have to deal with in the country. I mean, this constant fear for our lives and for our safety. And everyone is just, you know, filled to the brim with like frustration. Enough is enough. I have definitely had enough. I'm so tired of having to be cautious and having to keep looking behind me and having to constantly be aware of everything and worrying about it. It's just, I think that gives me a lot of momentum also, because, you know, enough is enough.
Varnika, appreciate you speaking to us on Republic as always. And yes, as promised, Republic continues to be with you, putting forward your perspective. And remember, the entire nation then is with you, because that's the reason why, remember, this entire campaign, viewers, of Justice for Varnika here continues with the same momentum here. Thank you to Varnika for speaking to us. And Gurpreet, remember, my colleague, continues to stay with us on the phone line. Also, let me get in first Raman Malik of the BJP. Now, Raman Malik, what is it about the entire case? Will the BJP still want to, you know, shield this VVIP brat? Because that's essentially what you've been trying to do right from day one. But today charges have been framed against him, and these are also charges of abduction.